Most mixers live in this frustrating middle ground. Their mixes sound good, but not good enough to release with confidence. Today, we change that. I'm going to walk you through my exact stereo bus workflow. I've used it on multi-platinum records. I'm going to show the chain, the decisions, and the mindset that turns a messy, almost there mix into something you can proudly send to an artist, a label, or put on your professional resume. By the end of this video, you won't just know which plugins are on my 2-bus. You'll understand why they're there and how to build a stereo bus that gives your mixes weight and punch every single time. Let's dive in. All right, I think we're live. What's up, friends? Welcome back to the Mix Academy. Today, I've got my friends Drew and Skylar back on the channel again. We finished this song, but I got a couple of minor tweaks, and I thought, let's go ahead and break down the stereo bus. I'm going to show that. It's been a while since we featured that. It's actually how I started my career, was with the Pro Audio files, and I did a mixed bus breakdown. I forget, the mixed bus, the stereo bus masterclass was the name, and then I did a couple of renditions of that. It's changed quite a bit over the years. We're going to show that off, and we're going to be preparing this song. If you like what you hear, you want to get your hands on it and mix it for yourself, we're going to be mixing it in the control room tonight. So everything you see here, we're moving into the next song. You'll be able to be a part of that. Check it out. The first 100 students, we're already almost halfway. Get it for $27 a month. All the information for that down in the description. Black Friday madness going on the site. And then also my Headphone Mixing Blueprint. If you're interested in learning my system, how I approach multi-platinum mixes on a daily basis, it's all in the guide. It's going to teach you my frequency-focused referencing through how I'm referencing other professional tracks. It's going to show you the ins and the outs of all of that. Give you my headphone calibration system for free. It's going to point you to all of that. Check it out. Link in the description. Okay, so this song is a wrap. We've got a couple of things to talk about because I recently... Man, I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm a doofus. And I didn't know that heat in Pro Tools, even if you have it enabled, it doesn't do anything unless you go left or right with the drive, and then obviously your tone. But I've had this in my template and just thinking, okay, cool, we're getting the best of heat, right? And if you don't know what heat is, this is the brilliance of, rest in peace, Dave Hill, Crane Song, mastermind behind Heat, built into Pro Tools. And it's this little window up here in the top, and it's got a lot of power, man. My new template has the drive on the tube setting way over here. And the tone, I think, on my template is 1 click or 2 clicks over. But I was playing with this before going live today, and I think a very subtle... it's hard if you don't mix through it. It's hard to add it on at the end and make it work. But I think a slight click towards the tape setting is going to do us nicely. But we'll take a look at that. We're going to hear some audio. Let's start off. Let's kind of break down this mix bus here. So... let's try to, this will be the rapid fire version. If you have any questions, you're hanging out with me live, man, hit me in the chat. Let me check and see. Kevin, what's up, brother? So we'll keep an eye on that as well. But here we go, mix bus. My template, everything in my template funnels to one of these following buses. The mix bus folder has the all vocals, all drums, which all drums is just the shells of the kit. It's my kick, snare, and toms. Sometimes the hat, the ride, the overheads go in here, but it's rare. Usually this is me getting the shells just fat, punchy, big, parallel compression, whatever I need to do, saturation, all the tools, right? But this is reserved for those. I like to, if I'm hitting hat, ride, overheads, room mics with compression, I like to do that individually on those tracks. And then those all go to the high-end bus. I know it's a little confusing. Pick this up from Dave Pensado, like episode 3 of Pensado's Place, Into the Lair, right? Shout out to my friends. He grew up over in the Pensado Students Facebook group. We'll say hello to everyone over there. You know what I'm talking about already. Dave Pensado, high end, moving on. So that goes to, I have a drums crush and a drums distortion. I did not use those on this record. And then I have a percussion bus. If I have it, congas, shakers, tambourines, all that'll go here. Low end usually is just bass. It could be sub drops, it could be synth bass, it could be any number of elements that's low end. Then we have all music. It's going to be guitars, keyboards, strings, piano, synths, anything that's not basically drums, bass, or vocals. And then all effects is for my modulation effects, delays, reverbs, phase, flanger, any of that kind of stuff is going here. Picked that also up from Pensado all those years ago, and that's something where if you have a dead stop in a song or you need to reduce the wetness of your overall vibe in the track, you can come here to your all effects bus, and I do it rarely, but I have done it and do it enough that it stays in the picture here, and that's to just kind of maybe reduce the effects in a verse by 4 or 5 dB, or you have a dead stop with a band and you got to just kill all the effects with one click instead of having to go through and automate all of the bypasses. And anyways, so that's what that's doing. Now these, I call them the all buses. They funnel into my Mix A. Shout out to Bob Horn. Years ago when Warren Hewitt and I launched Pro Mix Academy, we did a course with Bob Horn, and he talked about, it's not browerizing, but his own kind of like take on breaking things out into buses. And he had Mix A, Mix B, and he had a Mix C, and I used to as well. Mix A, he treated as a stereo bus compression, multi EQ, whatever he was doing. Mix B was parallel compression on the whole mix. And so you can see I'm still rocking that. Hit the mix hard with multiple layers of compression, making it sound really good, but very compressed. And we blend that into taste, and then I automate that depending upon the section. Mix C, I don't know what Bob still uses today, but I got rid of it because I found that instead of Mix C is parallel clipping, and it would just be like a white noise version of your mix that you could just tuck in very subtly, and it would just fill things out. And I found that going from Mix A, as aggressive as I mix, into the plug-in chain you're going to see, which starts with VMR. My gain staging was a mess on this one, but I hit VMR, Virtual Mix Bus, very hard. And similar, Jason Joshua uses the Waves, whatever NLS I think it's called, and he stacks a bunch of them. Same kind of thing. I'm hitting it hard in stages at these different VMRs. And I find that by doing that, what I'm doing here, hitting parallel compression aggressive and how I've liked to dial it in, which I'll talk about, I find that I don't have to do Mix C, and I haven't for years. And I just use clipping into limiting, and you can see I use KClip, and that's going into Ozone, and we'll talk all through that. So that's the routing, the signal flow. And then kind of a cool trick, out of the mix bus, I'm sending to an outputs folder here in Pro Tools, and that's where it's not even that anymore, but my main output to you guys for tutorials and for in my control room when I'm streaming for my members. This is an unadulterated signal. You're getting a clean signal from my main output. No headphone calibration or anything like that. But then for me, I get the signal from my cans. I get my headphone calibration. Check out the link in the guide below. Show you how to get that for free. I've been rocking this for years now, and it is amazing. Shout out to Oratory on Reddit. Don't know him, never talked to him, would love to, but incredible ear, and he has finally tuned those presets, and you can pick them up on his Reddit, which I share all that in the guide. And then my sub pack, I rock behind me. I use the M2X, I believe it is, and it's going out on me. Very sad. One of the I got to kind of pull back and lean into it. I need to check the soldering or whatever, but this thing is, love it. The HD 650s paired with the sub pack, golden for me. That's what I have used for years now, and with the Oratory, since adding that, love it. Okay, what else can we talk about with the mix bus? We'll look at the plugins. You can see I've got mix bus automation here. We'll blow that up for a second. You can see I start the song off at -1, but then where I want the song to really hit, I pull it back up to 0, and that gives us that jump of 1 dB for the whole mix, which is quite dramatic. Sometimes I do that and it's too dramatic, and we got to go in and kind of balance out sections. But there, and then once you're up at 0, you want to get back down so that you can go jump again at the chorus and give that impression of a louder, punchier hook or chorus. And so right here you can see we're fading out gently. Don't even notice it. Shout out to Pensado, man. So many great things that we've learned from him over the years, and that's definitely one of them. ITL from, it would have had to been, it's definitely over 10 years ago. Oh my goodness, this is back in like 2011 or something. Okay. We're going to move on. So volume automation, you see I'm pulling that up when I want it to hit. Bam, the final chorus. And then actually here, mix B, parallel compression is getting on this particular mix. Here, we'll hear that jump.
Then we won't suffer when we're finally found laid amongst the prey. It's a thing we'll find something with the suffering. It's a long way.
And then out here we have kind of the last hurrah of the song, and I wanted it to elevate even more. So I took and automated the parallel compression mix B up to fatten it up and fill it up at the end. And I'm using the crap out of it. So Mix B is definitely blossoming and fattening up the end of the song and helping us just like punch people in the face as they're listening to the fade out. Did I mention we mix a ton of worship and CCM? Would love to have you guys in the control room, man. All right, so here we go. Mix A, we're looking at the plug-in chain. So everything in the song feeds to the all buses, then it feeds to Mix A. My gain staging, like I said, I was just trying to go for slam the wall with sound and got a little bit carried away, but we saved it. Got our, trim tools for a reason. And virtual mix bus, this should be pretty much pegged.
Try to stay focused.
At the verse, that's actually pretty conservative. You can hit this as hard as you want, and if you don't hear the distortion, what are we even talking about? So if that red light is blinking at you, don't even worry about it. Just close your eyes, drive it until you like what it's giving you, and then maybe you back off a little bit to give you some headroom so your mix bus doesn't get crunchy on you for tom hits or something that comes in sporadic. But this is a great tool. I drive this hard. I haven't used Revival in a long time. It's a great plugin, but I haven't used it in the chain here. Next up is bus compression. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. I did here. We'll go out to the end where it's really heavy. Let's see what kind of reduction we're getting.
So there are your answers.
Yeah, and so what I like to do, I start with the slowest attack, 4-to-1, fastest release, and then I dial that to taste. Sometimes like here, the tempo kind of felt better with the second fastest release. The attack, I will go to, was it 10 milliseconds or microseconds? I think it's microseconds, but I'll increase the attack often to hear what it's doing, and then I get like, because we're going to use parallel and other things, and so I just put it back at full. I don't want to take away punch at this stage. I would rather do that after I've done parallel, see what that's giving me, and then if I need more compression, I'll do it over here like I did. We'll get to that. But bus compression, you'll hear some people say like your default could be 410 auto. I don't recommend auto as a default. It's kind of like a smear button. And so when you hit that, and actually let's show that off. Let's switch it to auto and see if you can tell the difference between the fastest, second fastest, and auto release.
So there are your answers. Behind us, memories fade. 'Cause time is the violence, taking everything away.
Yeah, it just kind of, it's a gentle letdown. It's not like it's going to ruin your mix, but I like the extra punch that's coming from that forwardness from the second fastest release there. So this is bus compressor land here. Let's go. Also, you'll notice that it was a little bit grippy for me. The mix knob up here in the top, gotta have mix knobs, man. 75%, that makes a big difference. Just pulls back a little bit and gives me some room to grip it in other ways moving forward. Next up, shout out to Nolly from Periphery. Gullfoss, I saw him using it, gave it a try, reached out, they hooked it up. I love this thing, man. It's been on my mix bus ever since. Nolly said it best. In the video I watched him say, he said, I could mix without it, but I don't want to. And that's how I feel about this. It's so much, too, about modern budgets and cuts and this and that. It's, still very viable, but it's we're trying to find ways to get big wins quicker. Gullfoss is one of those just massive wins. VMR, Gullfoss, those two right there. And then the next one up, maybe we'll do a video covering how I'm using it. And I mixed through these from the beginning, except the bus compression. That's off. VTM, let's take a look at that. Those are the settings. Copy them, steal them. It's a big low-end bump, so depending upon the genres you're working in, you may or may not appreciate the low-end bump that this is going to give you. I do not recommend that you go to a mix that you've done and just slap this on after watching this video because it's going to throw your whole mix off. What you want to do is have this on from the beginning, and then your drum samples, everything just kind of just a little bit punchier, bottom end heavy. Love it. Now, this could create problems for you, which you may end up reverse, taking low end out of things and stuff, but it's part of the game, right? Always kind of tweaking until we're moving on to the next mix. I'm going to save these match EQs. That's kind of, I don't know if you guys are familiar with scripture. Paul talks about the thorn in his side. Match EQ is kind of that reliancy thorn in my side. I'll show it to you very quickly. You can see, boom, boom, boom. They do make a difference, but I kept them. I was lazy and didn't go back and actually like reverse engineer and make it happen, which I highly recommend. That's just one of those. We're going to just ignore that for a minute. We talked about mix B. Let's actually show the settings. Often I will drag down the bus compression that I've dialed in and then slap it over to auto release. This case, I also sped up the attack so we can get a faster grip on the transients. I want this to be obviously tightened and not breathing. I want this to be a well-compressed, good sounding, but still over-compressed sound from this. And so this is our first one here. We did use the full mix percentage, but we're moving on because we duplicated that and we sped up our release and then we sped up the attack even more. Now we're really gripping on this thing. I'll show you examples. Let's maybe turn off. Let's do this. Let's turn off mix A. Now this is only mix B. I'm going to turn it up to 0 and turn off the automation here. Just put that at 0 for us. Cool. So if I turn off mix B, the parallel chain, we get nothing. So let's turn that back on. Okay, so this is mix B, parallel compression, going into the whole chain here, but one plugin at a time. This is no processing.
So there are your answers behind us, memories fade. 'Cause time is the violence, taking everything away.
Yeah, you can hear that second one. We gripped it with the first, but the second definitely is.
So there are your answers.
All right, and then third, I don't know how many months and months ago I got this. I think I was up my subscription. It was back in March or April. My subscription from Plugin Alliance was up and got to pick some plugs. I picked this one. I love the compression. Take a listen to what this thing is doing. Here's, again, just our parallel chain, mix B.
So there are your answers behind us, memories fade. 'Cause time
It's just an obvious overcompressed sound that happened to work, and I thought, let's blend that in and see what happens. So we get this massive thing happening, right? And then we blend it. So here's, again. Okay, now let's turn it on with the parallel in, and then I'll mute the parallel, and you can feel how things just kind of bleh.
So there are your answers behind us, memories fade.
And remember, we're only featuring that much of the parallel at the end when we're just trying to take the song to another level there. And so it's probably better to play it back here. This is more like where I have it in for the full mix.
Although Christ, then we won't suffer when we're finally found. Laid amongst the brave is the thing we'll find out. Everything worth the suffering.
Okay, now watch this because I'm hearing the snare transient in a way I'm not digging it. And I think it's because I've been so used to mixing with heat on lately. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come up here in the upper right corner and I'm just going to tick this drive knob to the right, that one tick towards tape. Now, again, I use it in my template. The new mixes you see me do on the channel or in control room, they're going to have it set more to the tube setting. That's just what I've liked. And then in the beginning of my mix, once I get things roughed in, I have a step in my process where I come through now and I check through heat to see what it's giving me. But I have it on at a pretty aggressive setting so that as I'm mixing through it, I can always back off a little bit or get rid of it if I needed to. But mixing through it, you're going to want to keep it. Okay, so we're going to go one click to the right, which, if memory serves me right, that's the tape setting in heat. And so we're going to take this. Okay, so let's come over here, and without heat, it's about feel. We're not really looking at numbers, but let's just let's see if we were painting by numbers here. Let's see what we're at without heat. And we gotta, just like anything, I like to start my mixes from the highest point, the loudest section. I want to come out and make sure that I'm looking at the LUFS from this loudest section out here.
So there are your answers, behind us memories fade. 'Cause time is of violence, taking everything away.
So I was tweaking this off camera just slightly, and I think what I did is I added some crunchiness with the gain staging, so we got to fix that. But now, so about 6.5. If we come over here with heat, I think this is going to take it.
So there are your answers, behind us memories fade. 'Cause time is of violence, taking everything away.
Yeah, it's definitely giving us a little bit more. The fullness, the feel, it sounds finished. That little bit is like really excited about heat. Can you tell? So heat, we're going to leave it there for the template. We're prepping this in addition to the mix bus breakdown. We're prepping this for the next song. Again, we're going to mix that in the control room this evening. We have a gospel children's choir thing that I'm taking care of, and then we're moving straight into more rock, and then we've got gospel, CCM, and more rock this week inside the Mix Academy's control room. So let's look at this. What else are we looking at with the mix bus? We talked about these. We talked about the Mix B. Now Mix Bus here. KClip, go check it out. They have a free version. I think you can do what I'm doing here with the free version, driving in for a little bit of clipping. Again, set that at your high point so that you can work backwards. Then I've got Ozone. This was when Ozone 11 was a thing. I have 12 now. Shout out to Dave Godowski over at Isotope for hooking it up. Loving 12, using it daily. And but 11's amazing too, and there you go. You can see what we're doing here. We've got the equalizer it recommended with the AI stuff, and I tweaked that. I backed off. It took out way too much low end, but clarity, a little bit of that goes a long way. The stabilizer, and then I turned off all the rest of it, and I built it from there. So Pro Q4, this is my, what do you call it, like MSEQ usually, and here it is kind of. So we got a little side boost to the loudness of the top end, cymbals on the sides coming up, and then we've got 361 that I cut half a dB because I thought it sounded better. A little less boxy. It's minor, but just felt a little more hi-fi. You got AI pumping out all these like super scooped, things. We got to delicately balance the mid-range there. So it's a minor move. Maybe I could play this before and after as well for you. Let's come out to where it's hype.
Is this the enemy? Maybe for the Christ, then we won't suffer. Then we'll finally found laid amongst the bed.
The cymbals, they come to life. Just a little bit of sheen on the sides whenever that engaged. That was nice. I like that. I agree with my settings here. Okay, cool. We're moving on. FabFilter Pro MB. Very long story short, if you want to get advice from my man Joey Fernandez, I'm going to go ahead and shout him out. Multiple Grammy-winning mastering engineer, but he's so much more than just an Emmy. He is an incredible mixer. He is world-class recording engineer by far. I'll put his masters. What's the saying I like to say? I will trust my life with Joey's ears. If my life can't, I think you get the point. So Joey was mastering a track for me, and he sent it back, and I was so blown away by like, how did I give him that much room to make it that much better. And it really offended me. I love Joey, this is not him, but it offended me about myself. I was hard on myself with it. And I thought, if I can recreate what he just did, then I'll hear it and I'll be able to, and I did. So I went to town and I heard mid-side compression. I heard the sides come forward and be punchy, and it matched the intensity. I tend to mix a lot like a pop or hip-hop record, which is crazy because that's not even the music I listen to a ton. But I do. I love a fat forward kick drum, snare drum, and vocal, right? And so with rock or anything else, worship, I get to where I have these, big bombastic forward center channel. And so with Joey, he helped me see that. And so what I did is I recreated what I was hearing from him with the FabFilter Pro MB in mid-side mode. And I'm compressing just the center channel. And then I'm elevating the level of the sides so that it serves two purposes. I get, two birds with one stone kind of thing. I'm compressing harder the center to drive that more, to make it feel more finished, like a record. More cohesive between the left, center, and right. Shout out to Joey, love him, and you're going to hear a lot from him on the channel and in Control Room. So check this out. We're going to hit play, and it's going to be in, and then I'm going to take it out.
Is this the enemy? Maybe for the Christ, then we won't suffer. Then we'll finally found. Later months away, is the thing we'll find out. The thing with the suffering.
Shout out to Joey. This still hurts my pride for me to hear the difference between that. But dude, we're growing, we're learning, and that was huge. I don't use this every mix, but I definitely try it every mix and see, do I need to balance it or save it with this? What a great finishing tool. Learn more in the Control Room. We'll show you everything. FabFilter, I can't talk. FabFilter Pro L2. I must have been ashamed from the shameless plug there. Stumbling on my words. All right, I'm leaving that in. I'm not even editing that out. FabFilter Pro L2. I usually don't end up with this anymore. I usually end up with more of the, now with 12, the last 4 or 5 masters that I've done have been IRC5, mixing through IRC5, which takes some power. Thanks to Apple for the Mac Mini, the M4 Mac Mini we're rocking back there. But I've got the one with 24 gigabyte of RAM, and I can stream full mix sessions and record all the video in full 4K with the M4 Mac Mini. It's pretty insane. And so I've been doing that. But this record, it sounded like, it felt like it was calling for limiter rounding off transients rather than cutting them with clipping, so to speak, if that makes sense. That, I don't call it pumpy, but if that makes sense, that more rounded experience felt right for this one. Maybe gibberish to you, but we'll maybe build a AI translator tool for when I speak so we can help it make more sense. Sorry, guys. All right, Pro L, here's with it, and I'll take it out.
Is this the enemy? Maybe for the Christ, then we won't suffer. Then we'll finally found. Later months away, is the thing we'll find out.
And it's doing what that limiter should do. We got oversampling set to 16 by, and we mixed through it like that. So again, praise God for the Mac Mini, the M4, helping us to get work done without stressing processing power and all that. So I do have Ozone 12 Max maximizer in my template. That's 11, but it was off. And then we got some utility tools. This is metric AB, adapters AB, whatever they call it now. I was going to say is my ride or die. This is up all session long, and I'm always referencing in the first slot, I will put the client's rough. We can check that out.
Is this the enemy? Maybe for the Christ, then we won't suffer. Then we'll find.
One more time.
Later months to pay. It's then we'll find out. The thing with the suffering.
God bless them, man. They've been so patient with me. So stoked to be working with these guys. Shout out to Drew and Skylar. We'll put their links in the description as well. But yeah, I'll put the client rough so I can listen, levels, balances, things that they've done that I need to respect. That's a great tool to have right there, a click away. And then what I like to do is put the first reference, second reference, third reference, that kind of thing. Sometimes I'll pull in, like if I'm working with Joey and he's mastered it, I'll pull in his master and I'll see what I can learn from it post mix after the process and take notes, update the template, all that kind of stuff. But I mix a ton of gospel and worship. And so I have a couple of presets, modern worship. Well, I got to get my gospel one over in here, but modern worship refs filled with all of some of my favorite mixes by like Sam Gibson and guys like that. What else are we talking about with this? I use this for my metering. I'll set the loops and playback. This is all kind of boring stuff you guys probably don't care about. And that's that. So after that, I have tonal balance control. This is a lifesaver. For this one, check out something I'm doing, just added to my process before finalizing a mix to send mix 1 to a client. Maybe that's something to quick rabbit trail. When I mix a song, I label it artist, the song, and then in brackets, I put DG1 for David Glenn 1. That's just an internal naming that I do. And then I'll go DG 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it takes for me personally, looking at the mix, checking on buds, car, whatever. It's mostly just trusting what I got, and then AirPods I'll listen on. But then I'll go through my process. Client doesn't hear any of that. Once I'm like, okay, I would be proud to release this, then mix 1's going to be printed. That's called DG mix 1. Real scientific here, but just so you kind of know the naming structure. What I do is in my DG 1, 2, 3, 4 process, I'll pull this up at the end of that before printing mix 1, and I'll listen to a reference. And so what we would do is come over here. Hey, they're going to kill me with the dang monetization. Not worried about that. Just give me a like. Just hook me up with a like, maybe a comment. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see here on the channel. But when I hit play over to some of these references, it's obviously going to take that away. So hook a friend up, hook a brother up. What do we got? B, we're going to listen to theirs.
Wouldn't you rather live from the heart? At least then we won't suffer, and we'll find out no matter.
Okay, let's say we were using that. I don't think I did. I may have gone with that.
How can be life, yeah, at least then we won't suffer.
I can't remember which one I used for sure, but I would definitely use all three of them. But let's say just that first one here. I would pull up tonal balance control, go to the high point of that song, have both of these up here, shift click, and Pro Tools will take that little red thing off there and allow you to have multiple plugins on the screen. Pro Tools is still somewhat dinosaur running for us. I love Pro Tools. I'm not using any other DAW, but anyways. All right, squirrel. Here we go. So looking at B, what I would do is find the high point. It looks like we already got a highlighted loop.
Wouldn't you rather
Really, it's usually this last chorus.
nothing will matter till we live from the start?
Okay, let's say I don't know that I care for that sonically or whatever. Great mix sounds, but for me, I hear things a little differently. But let's say I wanted to chase that. I took a screenshot of it. Now I'm going to come back over here to my high point.
Is this the enemy? Maybe for the Christ, then we won't suffer, and we'll finally.
Right on. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to pull that up and I'm listening and looking at, let's see what we got over here. We'll pull all these up and go to screenshots and we're looking right here. So we're going to look and we're going to see that was me. This is them. I like having my kick more in, yeah, we're good. Moving on. We're scooped like they're scooped. We're looking at, yeah, I mean, so we're pretty in the ballpark already. I do have more top end. And I'm okay with that. I feel like I've controlled 3 to 5K, the harshness, the mids. I'm okay with that. But looking, you can just kind of go back and forth. Now, if you see something, there's probably one in here I can pull. But if you see like this right here on mine, let's say mine went right across the middle and it kept going. But the references, or if I did this with 2 or 3 songs, they kept dipping here. Well, let's go take a look at that. Let's go look, and then that's when I'm coming over here and looking at this EQ, and then we may do something about it. And if it's substantial, you may need to go back to the tracks and address it, because if you dip the lows, low mids in too much of your overall mix, you may be robbing Peter to pay Paul. Is that how that goes? And so you want to just kind of keep that in mind when you're doing your your final EQ and looking at tonal balance control. But what a gift, man. If I guarantee you, some of you watching this right now, if you go look at tonal balance control in your latest mix, you might be seeing something crazy up here. You might be seeing something really crazy down here. There's a lot of great tools to help us get the mid-range. You should spend the most time in the mid-range, but you're not hearing the low end right or feeling it like I can with the sub pack, and your top end, because your headphones or your system, your room is lying to you. You need to address that. And so if you start to see a consistent pattern with too much low end or not enough, you can start to identify that. Again, check it out. The Headphone Mixing Blueprint, it's all in the guide. I go through it for free, and I'm going to send you to another video that'll be specifically about frequency-focused referencing. It's going to teach you everything I know about it, and you're going to be good to go. So there you go. Here we go with wrapping this up. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'm going to check in with my live viewers and see if we have any questions. We've got Jackie hanging out in the chat. We're about to feature Jackie inside of the control room, so super excited to mix that for her. Paulo, what's up, my friend? We have Austin, great content. He said, quick question, do you use the same headphones in stream as you use in mixing, or do you never mix with headphones? I only mix with headphones. Soon, when we move and build and take care of that, we're going to build a studio. I will have monitors, but I'm a headphone mixer. I grew up listening on headphones, falling asleep at night, as bad as that is, my whole life listening to music. I'm a headphones guy and have been for a very long time. So I use these to mix. I use these to listen. I use these for everything. I know what to expect when I turn my calibration off, and I know what it's given me. I've learned it, and I highly recommend that you check out the free guide and the oratory presets that I'll point you to in there, because it's going to make a massive difference. Musictron, what's up, man? I appreciate you. How and when are you getting your reference files, and why didn't you get along with the VSX? So, I can't fight personally. I don't mind. I like the way VSX sounds. We'll hit this one first. I like the way that right here. And at the end of some mixes, I think to pull this out, but I've just been so comfortable with what I'm what's happening, what's coming from. I don't often reference a ton. I recommend it for up and coming, aspiring. If you're still learning, definitely have you multiple and check them. But I found that this just works. VSX for me sounds good without the plugin. With the plugin, I felt like it was just the psychoacoustic thing felt phasey to me, and it's not something that I wasn't searching for that. So I wasn't searching to solve a problem in translation for personally where I was at in my journey when it came out. And so I use it as a backup, as a reference sometimes, and I think it's got its place, but 650s all day. Now, the new planar, if we're talking about those, how do you pronounce Audeze or Audies? My man Joey Fernandez rocking I think he's got the Manny, Audeze, and the other, he's got 2 or 3 models. And he's been trying to get me to move to those for years. I'm just so happy with what I'm doing on the 650s, and the price tag is much lower, and I get the job done, and right? So that's where we're at with the VSX. But you also asked, how and where are you getting your reference files? So first and foremost, I asked the client before. I just had a guy hire for the Christmas song. We're featuring it inside the Mix Academy's control room next month. It's available now for you to get your hands on. Incredible singer, Malik Oliver, give him a shout out. And that came to me. Just an example, I asked him, what references do you have? He gave me one. It wasn't a great reference for the sonics of his track, but it kind of helped me. You can hear, balances and things, and that vocal was maybe a little tucked, and so I could kind of take it and say maybe he doesn't want his vocal way up front and read between the lines and that kind of thing. But usually it's me. And then be excited because I have an AI tool that I've been slaving over, 2 very specific tools that I am going to try to incorporate this next week into the control room. And one is my AI mix critique engine. I've been doing mix critiques since, the Pro Audio Files was 2013. Graham Cochran from the Recording Revolution shared a tweet that I put out where I put him and Pensado and a few other people in a best mixing resources kind of recap. Graham shared it. Dan from the Pro Audio Files found it. We started creating content, built the Mix Academy and all that from there. Why was I going into all of that? It was about, reference tracks. I've done thousands of mix critiques over the last however many years. And I've got all of those videos saved and now imported into AI for direction, and it's just going to be wicked. And then one of the things is mix critiques, and then also references to help. You can upload your song, it'll pinpoint and help you identify references, give you some notes, some thoughts, some direction, and help you incorporate it into my workflow within the Mix Academy's control room. All of that, it's pretty insane, man. The tools are incredible. We're so spoiled. But we'll see, is it Arian? Am I saying that correctly? Forgive me if I didn't. Can you tell us, when gluing your mix with compressor, what exactly is it that you're listening to? Because it should be something other than feeling and hearing. Okay. What is it that I'm listening to? When I'm dialing in the mix bus, I'm listening first and foremost, how is it affecting the transients, the kick, the snare, and the vocal? If I've done my job before mix bus compression, like I said, I don't always use it. Things should be well compressed, sitting pretty good. That last mix bus compressor is to, in a pleasing way, grip the mix. If we're going for that SSL rock sound, slamming the SSL compressor, you may have to hit it with the 410 fastest release or second fastest release for 10 dB of reduction, and just listen and play with the knobs until it sounds something like pleasant. And then you might back that off and feel out, a dB or two of reduction or 4. There's mixes where I hit it 6, 7, 8 dB of reduction on the mix bus, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a cumulative, right, effect. And so if you're compressing your kick track, your kick bus track, your drums bus that the kick is sending to, your snare, to all of that, and then another compressor, you may not need but to tickle the needle a little bit. Whereas if you are not compressing heavily at the track level, you may need to overcompensate for that and compress more to get the sound that you're chasing based on your references. So it really depends on the song. But I'm listening for transients, kick, snare, and vocal. What's happening down the center channel? Is it gluing and bringing things together, or is it just compressing for the sake of compressing? And in that case, I don't do it. But great question, man. I hope that made sense. He said, for example, you losing punch and gaining cohesion. Yeah. Losing the attack of the transient can be a good thing if it allows the mix to be more cohesive. I agree with where I think you're thinking that direction. Great question, man. Hey, come back. Would love to some thought-provoking stuff. Crossbone, my man Tyrone, another great live stream, bro. Thank you so much. And then shout out to a Kimson Drum. Did I say that correctly? Hello. Appreciate you hanging out. Hey, man, I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. Guys, thanks. Don't forget, drop a like if you haven't already. Comment on the replay if you would. Help me out. Get this in front of more eyeballs. You guys are amazing. Don't forget to like, subscribe so I can hit you with the next one. We're going to be going live every day, probably in November, minus Thanksgiving. And who knows, we may sneak a little like turkey sandwich live stream to hang out. Probably do that in the control room. But nonetheless, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Oh, whoa, we got one more question. You hung out with me. We got Jay Beat says, why do you use MixBus? That could be at the very beginning of the video, my friend. So you're in this session. You've got drums, kick drum, snare drum, multiple snare drums, toms, all the individual mics, the DI bass, the driven bass, the guitars. You got all these tracks, right? And so with mixing, our job is to balance them, shape the tone, the character, the vibe to fit the emotion of the song, but also we're reaching for, loudness and mainstream sound or not, whatever we're looking for. These individual tracks, the processing is going to help us achieve that goal, but then MixBus processing has all of the tracks funneled into this little channel, and then we get to treat it more. And by doing that, we can gain things like cohesion, like we just talked about. We can help the mix pump if we're going for an energy that we want it. Think of like in film, you got like the shaky camera thing. We can affect emotion with things like compression. And so it's easier to shape all of it at once with a MixBus compressor than to go track by track and try to get all of those individual things. So we can do things like stereo imaging. Here on my all music bus, That's part of the Mix Bus Masterclass. So good question at the end here. I throw 40 on this one, this mix. We got 44 and 50%. I don't know why they had to be different, but we're throwing that out wide for all the guitars, the synths, the piano, the strings, anything like that is getting wider, but that's not affecting our drums, our vocals, anything else. It's just affecting that. And so we get this wide stereo image without sacrificing. A lot of times what happens is when you use stereo imagers across the whole mix, it can kind of smear that center channel and you lose definition in your kick, your snare, that kind of stuff. And so I'm a big fan of doing it at the all music bus. I will have this on from the very beginning. It's rare that I touch it. I also sometimes, not often anymore, but I will automate an additional imager for another 10, 20, 50%, whatever I feel like, right? And so that's where this additional one down here is. So little tricks that we can do for all the tracks instead of going individually, go for big wins quickly. And that's where you hear like the, what do you call it? Whatever the reverse, I'm drawing a blank. Sorry, brain fart. Moving on, what do we got? We got Musictron. I know you use the Harman curve for the 650s, but are you deviating a little bit? I am, what did I do to these? I pull in his curve exactly as he gives it in the guide. And in my new template, it's a Pro Q4, but it sounds the same. And then I pulled this up a little bit louder than he did because I had plenty of headroom. Well, in this one, it says plus 2.6, so I may not have plenty of headroom, but the settings are the same. I'm not Joey. My man Joey Fernandez, incredible mastering engineer, says, hey man, play with the shelves. These two are for you to tweak to your taste, your liking. And if you're referencing, you can get away with that. For me, with the sub pack, the 650s having that extra low end is amazing. I like it, but the sub pack gives me what I need in the low end. For the top end, again, I just left it because I just got in the fire and started using it and learned what it was giving me. And then most importantly, check. Here's one last thing here. We'll do a bonus tip here. I use the Sennheiser HD 650s. There's a substantial low-mid bump. Let's go grab that. If you guys are digging this, man, this is what we're doing in the control room all day, every day for these next couple of weeks here. Would love to have you over there. Got that $27. First 100 people to join, get it at 27, and then we're going to 97. What am I looking for here? Sennheiser HD 650 frequency profile. Might pull it up. Let's go images. What's a good one? So you can see it here. Is that like SonarWorks or something? But you can see the Sennheiser HD 650s have a bump in the low mids, and then you have that steep roll off in the subs. And so what my calibration profile for my specific headphones model does is it pulls up the subs and gives you some low end. It reduces that low mid bump, and then does all this stuff up top to help it neutralize and become a more quote unquote flat. He tunes it to the Harman target, so it is kind of a scoop sound already, which is, I like working that way. But like SonarWorks would aim to just give you a flat profile, and that's fine too. I use that for years, but I like this better. And so what we're talking about here is why I brought this up is with the low mids being offset, I can mix for that sound. I can mix for a quote-unquote flatter sound and not be fooled by the lack of low end in the headphones or the boost of low mids in the headphones. And so at the end of the process, what you want to do is you want to remember that your headphones are not perfect. No headphone is perfect. These, for the distortion quality, all of the specs, they work amazing for me. They probably would work amazing for you. I'm confident they would. You don't have to go spend thousands of dollars. But what we're talking about right now is merely making sure that after you bounce your mix, you take into account that when you listen to your mix without the calibration profile, it's going to sound different. But that's okay. It should sound a little full in the vocal at 200-300 hertz on Sennheiser HD 650s because that's a boost that the headphones are providing, and we compensate for that in the mix process and mastering. So I hope that was a decent example. I'm going to go over here and make sure we got the last one. We got, I appreciate you, Musictron. Arian said, sorry, forgot another question. How do you manage loudness on your headphones? What is 75, 80 dB SPL on headphones? How do you dial that? Sorry for the late question. No worries. I'm not sure that I'm picking up what you're asking, but if you're asking about, what are we saying, loudness on your headphones, I mix pretty loud, and then I don't. I mix really quiet, and then I go back loud. I'm all over the place. I mix with the sub pack on to start and feel the track and feel the low end and build it, but then about an hour in or so, I try to remember to turn the sub pack off because I don't want it to color what I hear here. I want to focus on the mid-range. That's where I've got these presets. You get to see VSX is in my template. Let me show you. Sometimes I click over and use that, but often it's these emulations, and I share these in the Headphone Mixing Blueprint. My man Doug Weir sharing the NS10 emulation, and then we've got the Aventone and my own tweak of the NS10 emulation, and I share those in the Headphone Mixing Blueprint. You can download these, pull them right into your DAW, and use it with the FabFilter. But this is the Aventone emulation, and if I put it up here, you'll hear it. Cool, and then you can pull those up. Like, I didn't hear that right there because I put it on the output to you, to the video, the stream, and the recording. But that's an incredible tool to just fixate your eyes on your ears on the mids, and both of those included for free. Link in the description. But yeah, loudness. Sometimes loud, sometimes not. And can I replicate the same result with my HD25 if I can find a like blueprint for it? So the blueprint is mine. That's my guide that I'm going to give you for free. You can go through that, check it out. It's going to show you how to reference other tracks, how to get your loudness similar to what we talked about here to a competing level so you can make apples to apples decisions against a finished master reference, right? We don't have finished mixes to reference often. I do provide those in the Mix Academy control room, but for lesson's sake. But yeah, I think he might have the HD25. So if you download the guide, I'll give you the link. Look up on his Reddit thread. You may see those exact headphones, and he's going to hook you up. Now, distortion qualities and all the stuff that I'm not geeking about on this live stream for, these are going to be superior, but you're certainly going to get a better sonic blueprint or frequency response using his curves. I think it's going to help you a ton, which is why I'm sharing and blabbing about it. So, David, what's up, brother? He said, is this video going to be available offline or will it be removed? Yeah, it's a great question. This will be removed either tonight or tomorrow. And then all of these live streams go straight into the control room, and I archive everything. I was up till 4 in the morning building this thing out, making sure all the replays go into their own section, tags and titles, so you guys can search hip-hop vocals, rock vocals, whatever, and you'll be able to see these. So $27 a month gets you in. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. David, you're the man. I'm not sure how to pronounce the other one, but Musictron, you guys hanging out. Arian, love it, man. Thank you so much for your feedback and for the questions. And don't forget, like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next stream. And have a great day.